Hey y'all, welcome back to another one on Spirit of the Outdoors. I was going to show you what I did my garden. Most of you know we've had a lot of rain in the southeast, central Mississippi. It's ungodly amount of rain. Last couple of weeks has dried out, starting to get caught back up on things. I'm going to show you my garden. I finally got it cleaned out where it's actually decent to look at. But I pruned off some limbs off of some of these tomatoes this morning. Just a couple of varieties that I had that basically the suckers where that you got a stalk and a limb comes out and then you'll have a sucker pop up in the middle of that fork. In other words, it'll just, where it forks, there'll be one kind of split off in the middle. If you don't understand what I'm saying now, you'll just, if you fool with tomatoes, you know what I'm talking about. So I broke some of them off and I just stuck them in water. Now what they'll do is they'll sprout roots. This is better than starting another seed this time of year. That'll grow roots and then I can go stick it in the ground. What I'm doing is I'm just going to spot in some tomatoes that have died, and I'll let you get a look. I've got a few that are still dying. I sprayed this morning Blossom In rot stopper and some fungicide that I had because we've got some funguses. It's from all the rain. I didn't get a chance to put straw, and then we had to clean up a spot, and we wound up cleaning up a field, and the straw got cut down and done away with that I was going to put around my tomatoes, but it was so wet I didn't get a chance to get it done, so it was really my fault. But I'm going to spot in some of these tomatoes, and from all the rain, that straw will keep that dirt from splattering up on the leaves and causing a lot of this fungus. Now this particular one here, I don't know if I should have put it in here or not, but it has already got a few fungus spots on there. And I may take and put it in a separate jug and see if it does any different. But they'll start sprouting roots. I don't know if it'll spread to them other ones or what it'll do. We're going to just kind of experiment and see what happens. But I'm going to take you along, let you take a look at my garden, let's kind of see what I've been doing. Now this is my tomato beds. I had them cleaned out, but I do have some tomatoes that are doing okay up here. Some of them, these Cherokee purples, are actually starting to turn. Pepper bed. I had it cleaned out last week, but it's time to clean it out again. But you can see we've got peppers, and this is the first year, y'all, that I have had bell peppers like this. I don't know if you can tell. And that's gonna be ghost peppers and Carolina Reapers and stuff in there. But I cleaned that herb bed slam out when I cleaned the rest of this up, and it ain't nothing left in it. Now the grass is starting to go back. I reckon I'm gonna take Roundup to it, but I do have a few herbs here. Now one thing's for sure, I'm gonna have peas. This is the one thing that has not struggled. You see the blooms on them things? Look right down that road. Now that's all top pick purple hull to that row there. And then this right here is zipper cream. Now you can see down there where I ran out of peas in my planter. It didn't plant. But now I was going to show you something. These little things here is to keep a deer out. It's set for nighttime. It'll only work at night. But when you walk in front of it motion, it'll set off a red light. That whole thing will blink red and a siren will go off. And it will keep the deer out of the garden. I don't know if you can see. There's another one right there, and then there's one right there, center of the screen, and then there's one right here on the other corner. Roscoe, what do you think? had this little tiller in here cleaning up and down in between all these rows. My zucchinis have done okay. Everything is actually starting to green up, and I cleaned out some of my chicken coops and I sprinkled a little fertilizer around everything. But you see the bottom of some of these tomatoes look really bad. That's some of that dirt splattering up on there. They need a straw or a ground cover under them to keep that dirt from splattering up. That'll help with that fungus a lot. This year I've been so busy I didn't get to do that. But I've got this cleaned up, but now I come through here and I've got some, or I did have, I laid them somewhere, some cucumber seeds that I'm going to put in over there in some of those gaps. Let them grow up those trellis just because they don't really look that good. I've already planted in a couple of more squash down here plants. And this time of year, this is middle of July, they'll come up and do all right. But I'm going to walk you around and look right here. And I'll try not to shake the camera too bad. But you see these Orient Express, that's a long cucumber. This trellis works good for that. And we've picked about a 5-gallon bucket full of butter beans out of here. And I have went through there and literally hand pulled up, I don't know how many mustards. You can see some of these right here. These are actually the smaller ones, is why they got left. And there's a few growing right there. They were thick, all in those butter beans. But I cleaned most of that out. And one row, I got really good. You can see the butter bean. But we picked out of 4 rows a 5-gallon bucket of butter beans. And I pretty well lost my rattlesnake pole beans because the grass is so thick. When I come in to plow them, I pulled the vines up. They were running on the ground. See, these 3 tomatoes here don't look good at all. I figured I'm going to lose them. These are doing okay. Now I've got 4 or 5 up there in my bed. You see these are real yellow. So I've sprayed a fungicide on there, but I've also put a little, where I cleaned out the chicken coop, I don't know if you can see it on the ground under there, some chicken fertilizer. It's supposed to rain the rest of this week pretty good. Okay, now what I did is I come right here, and you can see right there, I kind of kicked a ditch with my foot, and I've got about 20 or 30 foot right there of rattlesnake pole beans that I just hand sprinkled in there. Then I hand sprinkled some gourds in that tall grass right there. That little tiller, it struggles with that tall grass. Now y'all, my corn, it is very yellow. Now when it gets this yellow like this, it's not going to produce real well. So what I have got to do, now you see I come in and I cleaned in there some. You can at least walk through there. But I'm on, what needs to happen now is I need to get some ammonia and come through and hand sprinkle ammonia in here, and that'll turn that corn back green as soon as it rains on it. But I'm going to show you one more trick I did. I really like my rattlesnake pole beans. So on this last row right here, I walked right down through here and I throwed some seeds right down in here. You can hear it thundering now. As it rains this week, by the end of this week, those seeds will be in the ground, they'll sprout, and they'll run these corn stalks. And hopefully this is already starting to silt right here. It'll make corn before them vines get heavy enough to hurt this corn. And I'm going to use the other row of stalks. That's why I only did one row. I'm going to use that other stalks for decoration this fall. We like to decorate with pumpkins. We planted 3 long rows of 3 different varieties of pumpkins. So that's kind of what we've been doing. We're trying to get the garden back under control. And I wanted to make a short update video on that in between some of the other stuff we're doing. I know some of y'all are missing the fishing videos, but we've got so much going on, we haven't had time to do any fishing. I'm trying to get this caught up because on a homestead, my food right here that's going to carry me through the winter is really important. So I've been focusing on this, what little off time I had, and we've had a lot going on the last week. I'm not going to get into detail into that, but it's been a really tough week last week in this community working around this. So y'all, thank y'all for checking out my video. We'll see y'all next time on Spirit of the Outdoors. Remember, the best way to do things is the way you like to do it.